We're about 18 miles west of Boston in Natick, Massachusetts, at Brown Elementary School. This is the school I first went to in 1960. Of course, it looks a lot different today. What you're looking at is what used to be the front of the school, the main entrance being right over that way. And at some point after I left here, they decided that this whole design of the front entrance was dangerous, and they've actually blocked off this hill that I used to walk down when I was a kid. And around the other side of the building is now the main entrance, and we'll look at that in a little bit. Dwight Eisenhower was still in office when I started here, and John F.Kennedy was going to be the next president. Everybody was really excited about having a young president come in, and he was going to lead us into better times. Of course, I mentioned in another video in 1962, we went through the Cuban Missile Crisis, and I was in second grade here around the other side of the building that way. And of course, the major event that I remember as a kid was the day that John Kennedy was assassinated, and I was in the last room on the right behind that big tree there, and I'll never forget looking out the window and looking up this hill to the street that I lived on, wondering what was going to happen next. Very scary times. So up this hill behind me is the street that I lived on. I lived about a half a mile down the street. Used to go home for lunch. Lots of trips back and forth. We'll take a walk around the other corner of the building, because that also hasn't changed too much and has a lot of significance for me. This is the east side of Brown School, which I remember the best, probably because I cut through here so many times later on my way to Kennedy Junior High School, which we'll be going to shortly. This really has not changed at all since the last time I saw it. And right over in the corner there would have been my 5th grade class. 6th grade was over this way. And the 2nd grade was towards the left there on the end. The back, or now the front, of Brown School is totally unrecognizable to me. Rebuilt, an addition put on. This used to be just one wing that looked kind of similar to what you see over there, but it went straight across here, and there were classrooms over on this end of the building. Now it looks like there might be a gymnasium and some other stuff. This area back here was all a field. Used to spend a lot of time here, especially in the summer when there was nobody around in the neighborhood. And they used to have a playground program. I'd come down and hang out with whoever was here. But as I say, even the old playground is gone, and they do have a lot of modern stuff, which is nice, and it's fenced in. And then you can see at least this part of the field has been left untouched. There used to be tennis courts down in back there, but they ripped those out, and it looks like they play a lot of soccer now, which I don't even think we knew the word soccer when I was growing up. Nice woods over on the right. And actually, now that I think about it, there was another baseball diamond when I was growing up, back in that corner down there. Right over behind these trees here is the Kennedy Middle School, and we'll take a walk over there in just a few minutes. We're at John F. Kennedy Middle School. It was John F. Kennedy Junior High School when I came here in 1967. It was built in 1964, so it was still fairly new when I came in, and I always loved the design of this building. (1967) was the beginning of a lot of turbulence and unrest in the country between the escalation of the Vietnam War, civil rights, a whole social revolution was taking place. That was kind of going to get on my nerves a little bit. I'll talk about that in a few minutes when we go around back. But this has changed very little as I remember it. As I say, I love the school. The inside was very well laid out. Was still able to walk here. The only thing that was different was that I ate lunch instead of going home. They had 2 cafeterias here, and students from 3 or 4 other elementary schools came to this middle school. There were 2 others in town that would eventually all dump into the high school. We're around the backside of Kennedy Junior High School now. Kennedy Middle School. Keep getting it wrong. I'm on the what used to be the football field. It now looks like a soccer field. Used to have football games every Friday afternoon with schools from other towns usually. A lot of fun. If you are not familiar with the history of the late 60s, the mid to the late 60s, you really should read about it. As I mentioned earlier, very troubling times in the United States. And about the only thing that kept us on an even keel, I think, was Kennedy's goal. When he took office, he said he was going to put somebody on the moon. And the pre-flights for that, a lot of them took place while I was here at Kennedy. And the actual setting foot on the moon took place my last year here. My middle year was absolutely terrible, and I got fed up one day and did something I had never done before. I skipped school. And as you can probably imagine or guess by now, I would end up at that place in the woods. And my video called Discovery, which will be after this trilogy, is going to talk about that day. And I'll talk about some of the things that were going on with me and how come I decided to name it Discovery. And I think you'll find that pretty interesting. It'll tell you who Matches 860 really is. So all in all, I have to say my time at Kennedy was a lot of fun, despite what I might say otherwise. I learned a lot, and little did I know what I was in for going to the high school. You saw Brown School that was all one floor, kind of a compact building. Kennedy is 2 floors and also compact. And hopefully we'll be able to see at the high school, it's 1 floor in some spots, lengthy corridors, inner courtyards, and 2 stories in other places. It's just spread out all over the place. And that's where we're headed next. We're at the old Natick High School now. I entered this school in 1970, along with a record class of 700 students in my class. And pretty much everything in high school was about getting my driver's license. And I took a job after school on weekends my first year, the spring of my first year. So my life was pretty busy all the 3 years that I was here. The school was built in 1954 and became obsolete fairly quickly. It was obsolete when I went through here in 1973. It goes back several acres, and it was built on what they call the California design. Very spread out, but very much like a college campus, where you go from one building to another. It's a shot of the auditorium, which I can remember watching shows when I was in elementary school. They'd bus us over here to watch a special program. And then what they called the music wing back over this way. Had to serve an afternoon of detention in that last room over here one time for being a part of a protest. And I guess what I remember most in the news was Nixon's administration. He was in office when I was here, and of course that all came to an end with Watergate. Came about when I graduated. And I can remember looking forward to the end of my time here, because I had had about enough of public school. And when it finally happened, I felt like somebody had pulled the rug out from me and had nowhere to go in September. But I did have a full-time job lined up, and I had decided to take a year off before I went to college. The new high school is off to the left over there. You can't really see it from here. 3 stories, and it occupies approximately half the footprint of the old building. So that's it for the 3 schools. Hope you enjoyed my little show. Thanks for watching.